Hey, it's Joel Eiffel, the tube dude. Take a seat over there. It's come to my attention that you've been doing your tube and pipe weld prep wrong. Huh? What's that? Oh, you want to argue about this? All right, let's talk some facts. But first, let's set some ground rules. Starting with number 1. Tube and pipe welding, you know what? It's gonna be too long to keep on saying that. So from now on out, I'm just calling it tube welding. Number 1, tube and pipe welding is a core job function. Maybe you're in a job shop, oil and gas, aerospace, nuclear, pharmaceutical, doesn't matter, but you do tube welding quite a bit. If you only do tube welding occasionally, it's kind of a hobby, you can go sit over in the corner. Big boys are talking. Learn something. Number 2, your focus is quality work, minimizing defects, increasing your productivity. If you don't care about those things, which you should, I can't help you. Maybe you should care about those things. Number 3, today we're talking about tube from about 1/16 of an inch up to about 1 foot in diameter. If you're doing that big boy stuff, 2-3 feet in diameter, super cool. Also not talking to you. You can have a seat over there. And number 4, you're willing to change and do things different and better. Remember, first step of recovery is admitting you have a problem. And with that out of the way, let's get into tube and pipe weld prep, because you're doing it wrong. Let's talk about it. It's not about the size of the belt sander. It's not about the size of the belt sander, okay? I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I'm not perfect. Before I got into orbital welding, I hadn't heard of this solution. And once I did, I was like, oh man, this is so obvious, and I would never go back. But we all learn things. So today, I'm gonna teach you what we learned out in the orbital field. But before we talk about the solution, let's look at how you're probably doing tube and pipe prep today. First, you're gonna start with your raw cut. Today I'm using a portaband, kind of simulating them out in the field, but it could be a chop saw, a cold saw, a hacksaw. You're using something to make a raw cut, get your stuff roughly to length, or exact. Next, you have to prep your edge to make your butt weld. Today I'm using a belt sander, could be a disc sander. If you're cold saw, maybe you're saying you can get away from it. If you're out in the field, probably using an angle grinder. Finally, we're gonna finish that tube up with some light deburr, some chamfering, get everything perfect here, cleaned up, ready to go into welding. It's not about the size of the belt sander. It's not about the size of the belt sander, okay? Okay? Thank you. Now this is all a tried and true method. It works great. If you're in a larger shop, you probably even have the new guy, their apprentice, out there cutting tubes to length. Hey champ, I'm gonna do about 200 to 300 of those. When you're finished, find me in the air-conditioned office. But the problem is, it's not very fast and it's not super consistent. And if you're out in the field, you can't bring a lathe with you can't bring a machine shop with you to do some really nice precision stuff. So let's talk about the other way today. Tube-facing machines. I'll give you a hint. They square and face tube. Let's rewind that process and look at faster mechanized tube prep. They have the TSM 6000 and 1100. Portable and benchtop. So how do facing tools work? It's pretty simple actually. They all are gonna start with the body of a drill. In this case, we're using a Metabo drill. Attached is a custom cutting head. That cutting head has the ability to hold a tool bit, which is inside here, and a way to advance that tool bit towards a tube. On the front side, you have a collet system, small one here, big one here. That's what holds your tube and gets it nice and square to that cutting head. You put that all together, you're gonna hold the tube now, you're gonna advance your tool bit towards it, and you're gonna make your nice, clean, square cut. Kind of think of it like a lathe in reverse. Tube stays stationary, the tool bit itself spins around it. There you go. Whoop. What do the tool bits look like? Well, tool bits look like this. They'll usually have, helps if I hold the right way. Tool bits look like this. They'll have a cutting surface. Oftentimes they're carbide or tool steel. And essentially they're designed to take a face cut on a piece of tube. Hey, let's redo that tube prep, this time using a tube facing machine. Starts the same, we use a portaband. It's not gonna give us a square cut, it's gonna be a burr on it. Now we're gonna go over to the facing machine. We're gonna grab the right collet for the size of tube we're using, 1/2 inch today. We're gonna put in the collet and clamp in the tube. And now we're going to adjust our feed handle until we get a nice clean cut. Let's just take that out in real time. And when we pull it out, no burrs, no nicks, very clean square cut. And that's it. Let's go over the results here. Tube face machine, prepping it nice and square. Portaband, tabletop belt sander, pretty common technique. I'll let you guys be the judge here. You can see the burrs on the inside. On the bandsaw one here, this one burr free, like reflective cut. You got some tooling marks, and again, this is no shade. This is a perfectly acceptable tube prep, perfectly acceptable. You'll be able to get a code wet out of this. This one, I'd say, also more than acceptable, but the real big thing here it's the speed, it's the ability to do this all no belt sanding process. You could do this all in a bucket truck, you could do it in a lift, you could do it in the field, do it while you're building a handrail, something that you can just take with you, really could get out faster. If you notice today, I'm cutting dry, so I'm using no cutting fluid. There's nothing that's going to contaminate this welding surface here. You just get a perfectly clean and square cut. Okay, we've done both methods, made some cuts, looked at the results. I think the real question is, so what are the reasons why you would use a facing tool? Let's kind of look at some of the pros, starting with speed. A facing tool is going to be fundamentally faster for almost every tube prep situation. If you're a pro doing tube or pipe welding for a living, you have to look at the total picture too. Prep time, cost of mistakes, the time to repair a mistake. If you have bad fit up, how much more time in the welding process you're going to take trying to close those gaps versus having something consistent. And when you put all that together and the direct speed of the cut itself, it's almost always going to be faster. And if you don't believe me here, I've put a cost calculator down in the comments below. It's from a real aerospace customer. We were saving about 10, 12 minutes per prep. Had to do hundreds of preps. Tool pretty much paid for itself in exactly one job. Okay, beyond speed, let's look at quality. And I really put quality into two categories. First, you have the actual cut quality. You know, the quality of the cut itself. If you look at it here, it's going to be a pretty high surface finish, kind of mirror-like finish here. It's not going to have burrs on the inside or the outside. It is a good-looking cut. The other side of quality is the dimensional side of quality. Is it square? Can you do it exactly to length? Again, tube facing machine is going to be much better than a manual process. You're going to know you're getting a square cut exactly at 90 degrees there. These machines are spec'd to be square within 5/1000ths of an inch. And also, you have those gradations on the handle. You can take off an exact amount. You know, hey, I want to make it 10,000 shorter. You can do that. On a bandsaw, on a sanding process, you know, scribe lines, there's always a little bit of judgment at play there. It just takes longer to get precise cuts. And I think the final kind of overarching big one here is just ease of use. Listen, learning how to do manual tube prep is a pretty important skill most welders, especially professional welders, are gonna pick up. But it is a skill and it takes time to learn. You can give a facing machine to the newest person on your crew. Here you go, put the tube in it, don't put your hand in it, you're probably good to go. They're gonna be making consistent cuts every time. I don't know what else to say about that. So there's no such thing as a perfect machine here, a perfect process. I guess the other question to ask is, well, why wouldn't I use a tube facing machine? And I can think of a few key areas. First is just going to be if you're doing low volume or you have a very high mix in tube diameters. Every time you change diameter, you have to change out your collets, readjust your tool bit. If you're only doing onesie, twosie cuts here, you'll probably find it a little bit of a hassle to constantly change, and you'll have to buy all these different size collets. Also, if you're only doing a few cuts, you know, per week, per month, probably not high enough volume to really justify getting a bespoke tool to do just that. So best to leave it in manual prep. I think the other one I would say is substitution. You know, do you have another process that's already doing a good job for you? If you've got a lathe, if you've got a cold saw, maybe even a tube laser, you're probably already getting really good prep. And, you know, this would be a substitute, kind of a lateral move. It might not make sense. The final reason you wouldn't do this would be around price. chances are you already have angle grinders, belt sanders, etc. in your shop. And if you don't, these are super great multi-purpose tools that have a million uses. The cost of getting these machines, on the low end, you're looking about $1,500. On the high end, $6,000, $7,000. And each machine only has a range. So if you want to go from, 1/2 inch all the way up to 6 inches, you might be talking about 2 or 3 different machines. And let's just kind of look at that. On a very practical level, if you're doing 3-inch tube, you're not gonna be able to do it on a small 1-inch machine here. And if you're trying to do 1/2 inch tube, yeah, you might be able to call it down a system like this, but you don't want to look this out in the field. This is not a practical solution for doing smaller tube. Super lightweight, portable, sit in your shop all day, handle the big boy stuff. So when you package all that together, really what I would say is evaluate it for your shop. When you're taking off 5, 10, 15 minutes of prep and you're doing hundreds of preps a month, this thing will ROI really quick. But if it's just something occasional, it's a high mix shop, it's gonna be sitting on the shelf most of the year, probably not the right fit for you. Go invest in a cold saw, go invest in better general tools that you can use for multiple things. So that's it, guys. You've seen the manual process. Now you've seen a tube-facing machine. It's faster. It gives you a higher quality cut. If you're doing this for a living, it's the right way to prep tube. But it's not perfect for every situation. So give me your opinion here. Tell me that you're actually faster than the machine. I want to hear why you're wrong in the comments below. Ta-da! Q&A time. Do I really wear a pink shirt when I fab? Yeah, I do, man. Hey, dress for the job you want. I want to be fabulous. I think you're just jealous that I can do it without getting it dirty and that I look amazing while I'm doing it. Is your belt sander really that small? Dude, it's not about the size of the belt sander, okay? It is plenty good enough for what you know what? I don't want to talk about it anymore. The belt sander's not the issue.